Hello, chess people. It's me, Chase, and I'm here with Sinatra. Well, Sinatra's not here with us. He's asleep, but I'm here and he's there. You want to play chess and you just don't know where to start. Well, let's demystify this crazy game, right? Now, I teach a lot of kids, and what I notice a lot of, especially in my elementary groups, is the following game. Try to follow along here, see if you've ever seen this before. Kids will sit down, they're very excited, and they just start blitzing, right? Blitzing. Boom. 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 And this will go on for about 5 minutes, and then they'll both have a king, and it'll be a draw. So, when I sit down with the kid afterwards, I'll say, hey, Jeffrey, Jackson, Jill, Joe, let's go over that again, right? How did we open that game? They say, well, Mr. Ross, I did this, and they did this, so I wanted to get my rook in the game because the rook's powerful. And I say, all right, pause. Full stop. Look at the board. And they'll see the board and they'll notice what they didn't notice before, that this rook is thrown to the wolves, right? So I usually take, and they'll take back. And I think, well, Jeffrey, Joe, John, Jill, now you have no rook. So let's back up, right? Let's back up. Why don't you try something else? They'll say, okay, I got it. I got it, right? I lost that time, but I got this. Boom. Okay? They'll say, I'm going to get my rook in the game. It's very powerful. Well, it's gone. Right? So these are the painful first steps that a lot of people who first touch a chessboard will go through. But it doesn't have to be painful. It does not have to be painful. It does not have to be confusing. Here's what we're going to do. 3 simple things. We're going to take the center. We're going to develop, and we're going to castle. That's all. 3 things. Three things. All we have to worry about today. Now, granted, you have to know how the pieces move. So if you don't know how the pieces move, pause the video. Okay, come back, and then we'll go over this, right? So, once you learn how the pieces move, come on back to me, come to this spot here, and then we'll continue. But if you do know how the pieces move, let's continue. White always moves first. Is always going to have an advantage, right? So, how do we start this game? How do we open? So many moves we can make. There's 100 moves we could make, right? Well, there's not 100. There's like 20 something. But how do we choose? Well, we're going to take the prime real estate on the board, the center. When we take the center, we limit our opponent's options. We limit their movement. We take our opponent's space. Let's go ahead and put a pawn in the center. E4. Pawn to E4. Now, our opponent is usually awake during all of this. They're usually trying to do what we're trying to do. So, E5. Taking the center, right? See, we're looking at these squares. He's looking at these squares. So, we each have a piece of the center. Very good. Number 1, check the box, right? Now let's develop. What does develop mean? Very, very scary, fancy word. All it means is we're going to get our players into the game. So imagine sports, football, basketball, not racquetball, that doesn't really work. Volleyball, cricket, if you're out there not in the US, cricket. So, our players aren't doing anything for us on the sideline. We have to get them into the game. Into the game, right? Okay. We want them to work for us. We want our pieces to work for us as best they possibly can. So we got to put them in places that make sense. How about this guy, this knight? Standing tall, 4 legs, long face. Very useful fellow, right? So we're going to get him towards the center of the board. Now, why do I say towards the center of the board? Well, let's take a look. How many squares can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares. Very nice, right? Okay. Remember that. 8 squares. Like an octopus. All right. We go to the side of the board here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half of his vision is gone. So, we love that knight in the center because it can see in all directions. It can hop over pieces in all directions. Very useful. Plus, this knight is doing something. Doing something very good for us. It's attacking our opponent's center, which we've determined, based on number 1, is important, right? So our opponent, who is awake currently, trying to not lose currently, as a good opponent should do, will defend this pawn. See, if he does not defend this pawn, we're going to take it for free, right? But he's going to defend the pawn. Now it's defended. If we take, it takes back. Okay. You with me so far? All right. Take a deep breath. Coffee break, water break. Popsicle break. I don't know if it's summer where you're at. It's getting hotter, right? Okay. So number 2 is develop. Now developing is like breathing. We don't stop breathing. We don't stop breathing. We have to keep developing. What does that mean? Well, we got all these pieces down here. Let's use them, right? We're not just done because we moved the knight out. So we got to keep developing. We can come out here, come out there with the bishop, right? We can go here, putting pressure on the knight. Okay. Say our opponent continues developing too. Now, we are going to pause developing for just a moment to deal with number 3. So it's important to remember, developing, it's going to continue. So all these pieces here, we're going to move them out. Just give me a minute. We're going to focus on number 3, which is castling. And if you didn't know, you can move 2 pieces at once. It's fantastic. Our king's going to come to G1, and our rook's going to hop over to F1. Gets the rook out of the corner, gets the king out of the center. King is nice and safe behind all these delightful pawns. And life's good, man. And we've accomplished 3 things. We've taken the center. We've started developing. Of course, we have to continue developing. And we've castled our king. So our king's out of the center. He's safe behind his wall of pawns. He's got the knight there to help him. We're getting our pieces out off the bench into the game. We've got a piece of the center. We're looking good. We're not going to lose in 4 moves, certainly not. And this is leagues away from where we started. Not taking the center, losing pieces left and right, and just not focusing on anything that's important, right? We're going to get steamrolled here. So, take the center, develop, castle. Start with those 3 things. If you could do anything today, just start with those 3 things. Simple. Once you get those 3 things, we can move on. But until then, those 3 things, all you need to know. So continue practicing with those 3 things in mind. Now don't stress. Have a good time, but keep those things in mind. It'll help you out. If anything, you'll stress less following those 3 things, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of this. Coffee break. Keep calm, chess on, all that good stuff. Be nice to animals, eat your vegetables, and take care.